Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our podcast for Saturday's Met race meeting. We have quite a few runners carded, and we thought we would give you some insight into how our horses will perform over the weekend and what we think could be our biggest dangers in some of the races we participate in. We start in race 3, the maiden 1600. Here we have Grand Escape. It's his second run. I was very pleased with his debut over 7 furlongs. He really finished his race off well. I feel he's come on immensely at home. Barring the poor draw, I think he's got an outstanding chance of being very competitive. Interbet have him up at 5-1, which I think there's a little bit of value in that. Obviously, in the race itself, you have Wolfman, Superior Leader, and Churchhaven, who would be the main contenders. But I just think with natural progression and improvement, I do think Grand Escape's one of our better runners on the day. We go to race 4, the Pinnacle Plate over 1400. Here we have 2 runners, Hoodoo Magic and King of Gems. Hoodoo Magic, you can ignore his last run. Nothing went right for him. We dropped him out to the back of the field. He was never in the race and ran accordingly. I think he'll be much better suited to the trip. I'm just hoping for a genuine pace in the race, and he's a horse that I would definitely include in most of your perms during the course of the day. King of Gems, he comes back from a wind op. This is his 3rd run back. I think he's back to peak fitness. I thought his last run was a much improved effort, only 4 lengths off Casimir. Obviously, he still needs to improve on his current form, but he is a horse that's a Group 3 winner, and he definitely has the ability to run well and upset in a race of this nature. I think for me, the biggest dangers in the race would be Fabian and Pinkerton, and I'd probably side with Fabian as being my first choice in this race. We move on to race 6, the Politician Stakes. A really tough race this, some really nice young 3-year-olds. Obviously, Komachiding and Rascallion look the 2 horses that would be hard to beat. Rascallion, I see they've fitted the blinkers. I think he's been an unlucky runner in his last 2 starts. So utmost respect for those 2. But when it comes to our runner, Captain, I thought his last start was outstanding. He ran in a progress plate. He's run way above his rating. He achieved a 97 on the day. So 97 for him, if he runs to that rating again on Saturday off a weight of 54, it definitely brings him into the equation. So I think he's a horse that I would suggest strongly that you look to put him in your swingers quartets. And if you feel that you want to take on the 2 top guns in the betting for your pick 6s, then I would definitely include Captain, as his work at home's been very good. I think there's a lot of value in his 25-1 with Interbet. In race 7, the first of our Group 1 runners on the day, we have 3 in the race. We have Pacific Trader. We fitted blinkers to him for the first time. He has lost his form a little bit, so I'm hoping that the blinkers would bring the best out of him. But to be realistic, on current form, he would have to improve a lot to be competitive here. Bold Respect ran 2nd in this race last year. He's in great form at home. Once again, he's a horse that needs to bounce back to his best form to be very competitive. But I think he's on the right track, and it wouldn't surprise me if he snuck into the quartet. The stable elect would be Run Fox Run. This filly, although she got beat last time by Celtic Sea, I did feel that we left a lot in the tank to work towards building her up for the Cape Flying Championship. I've been extremely impressed with her preparation, and I'm a big believer that good preps lead to good results. So I'm confident that this filly will make her presence felt. Obviously, the utmost respect for Celtic Sea. Very interesting jockey arrangements in the Snaith Yard, with Richard choosing Eric the Red over Casimir. I personally not quite sure that's the right choice, but I'm sure Richard would know more than me. But as I say, I'm going to stick with Run Fox Run, making the biggest danger to come from Celtic Sea. In race 8, The Majorca Stakes, we once again have 3 runners represented for us. We start with Pretty Young Thing. This filly unfortunately has a wide draw to overcome. She's been doing exceptionally well at home. She ran a very good race in the Garden Province in Durban before coming back down to Cape Town. She has needed her 2 runs in the Cape, and I feel this being her 3rd run that she's primed and she's ready to run a big race. Obviously Clouds Unfold and Captain's Ransom would be the 2 fillies that I think are massive runners. But I do think Pretty Young Thing on her best form has a chance to get into the quartets. Sing Out Loud, her last start was not a bad start at all. She was outpaced early, finished her race off really well. From a good draw on Saturday, I'll be hoping for a genuine run race. And I feel that this filly, once again, would have a place chance here. If the race goes for us, who knows, she may be able to do a bit better. Kelpie is a filly that I've always rated. She's been a little bit disappointing. She did run 4th in this race last year as a 3-year-old. Her gallop last Wednesday was exceptional. On current work, she probably would be the elect out of the 3 fillies on the way she's working. But obviously she does need to bring that to the races for us. But from a good draw and with Keegan up, I'm expecting a very good run. So for me, she's a filly that you can definitely throw around in your swingers and quartets. And like I say, if the top 2 fail, then I'm hoping one of our 3 fillies will be there to pick up the pieces. We move on to the Met. And this is obviously a very interesting race. All the hard knocking older horses been doing battle. There's never been much between them. Do It Again, I thought had a very good prep in the Queen's Plate. I feel for me he's a horse that would progress the most out of these older horses. Bulgarian, done very little wrong. Obviously a wide draw to overcome. And obviously Eric's got his 2 horses in Rainbow Bridge and Golden Ducat, who have to be big runners. Interesting for me, the 2 fillies, Queen Supreme, won the Paddock Stakes exceptionally well. I think with 57.5 on her back, she's got to be a runner. And then obviously very interesting to see Princess Keller, the 3-year-old in the race, off completely bottom weight. She's actually rated to win the race, and I would suggest that you see during the course of the day how some of the fillies run earlier on, especially Captain Ransom in the Majorca Stakes. So I think it's a wide open Met. I personally will be putting a few horses in my pick 6. I think it's a very interesting race. The 10th race is the Western Cape Stayers Handicap. Here we represented with Super Silvano. Our biggest question mark is whether he'll go the 2-8. Off his rating and his weight, he's pretty well in here. There's never been much between him and Silver Host, although I do make Silver Host a very hard horse to beat on the day, and could possibly be one of the best bets on the card. But Super Silvano's in great form. He's fit and well, and if he goes the trip, he will definitely make his presence felt. We then move on to the fillies handicap, 1,000 meters. Social Butterfly has a big weight, but she's a very classy filly. She got beat by an up-and-coming filly, the stable companion Kitty Cat Chat last time, who I regard rather highly. So I do think that this filly, even with 62, is going to be a massive runner. I think that her biggest dangers could well come from Justin's filly, Viridian Light. I think she's a runner, although I do think the 1,000 may be a bit on the short side for her. And then the filly that I do think from our yard, Quirat, she has been given a 2-pound drop for her last run. She was only 2 lengths behind Social Butterfly last time, and she's a kilo better off. So I do think that this filly must be included in your quartets and swingers. Variety Breeze, she'll prefer coming back to the 1,000. Last time it was just a bit too far for her at the Kenilworth Straight. She obviously gets a 12 at Durbanville around the turn, but at Kenilworth I think she's far better down the straight. But here I'm pretty strong on Social Butterfly, and I'm expecting a big run from Quirat. In the last of the day, we have Real Gone Kid. He won a very good race last time out, obviously beating his market rival Tarantino. There is obviously a slight pull in the weights towards Tarantino, and obviously that day he was a little bit slow out, Tarantino, and made up good ground. I think it'll be a very good race. I'm very happy with Real Gone Kid. So I would think that those are the two principal contenders for me. But like I say, I do think that Real Gone Kid can back it up. So after all of that, I'm going to single out two horses that I think would probably be our best runners from the yard. The first one would be Grand Escape in the maiden in race 3. So my value bet for the day would be Captain to take some swingers and quartets and exactors in the Politician Stakes. I hope this gives you some insight. I wish you guys luck and have a great weekend's racing. The reason that I got involved with Interbet is purely for one reason. It is the only platform in the industry that doesn't lay the open bet. And I think it's so important to encourage all punters and especially clients of mine that like to play the tote bets to play through Interbet, because they are the only platform that puts it back into the tote pools. And at the end of the day, tote pools are what generate our turnover and our stakes for our racehorses.